Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zane here, and today I am back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. I just returned home from San Jose Regionals, which I competed in this past weekend. If you haven't been following along on Twitter or been watching the live streams, I placed 6th at San Jose out of around 244 competitors. I was pretty happy about my run. I finished the first day 7-1 and made it to the top 8. My top 16 opponent actually didn't show up, so I had a free bye into the top 8, but unfortunately I had a pretty bad matchup in the top 8, and I also didn't play very well and ended up losing there. But I really wanted to feature my team on Road to Ranked. As you will see, it is a little bit similar to the team that we have been using on Road to Ranked, and that's because I basically modified my London team and changed 2 main components to it, and that was the Gyarados and the Xurkitree. I replaced those 2 for a Kartana and a Tapu Koko. So yeah, I'm going to be using this team for the next couple of days on Road to Ranked. I'm actually going to be in Cancun from Wednesday to, I believe it's Saturday. I'm going with a couple of friends for vacation, but I'm going to pre-record a lot of episodes tomorrow. And obviously, as I mentioned in my last couple of videos, I am actually finally home, so you can tell I'm not in my dorm room anymore. Brendan's actually basically taking up my room, so you know, I might move up there tomorrow, but for now I'll be recording, and this is my basement actually. But yeah, this team was a lot of fun to use, and ultimately I really wish I could have won the regional championship with it, but last it wasn't meant to be, and it just sucks because both times I ran onto stream, I just had some really difficult matchups. But really want to highlight it because this is a super strong team. We did actually push into the 1800s. I played a couple of games off screen to practice with this team. I think it was like 6 games the night before regionals. Went 5-1 with it and got into the 1800s, which was kind of neat. And I was playing on Showdown as well. I think I peaked at like 3rd on the ladder with like a rating of 1760 or maybe something around there, just under the 1800s on Showdown. So it's definitely a team that's had a lot of success, but it's also kind of matchup oriented, and you have to play pretty well with it as well. It's obviously very, very hyper offensive. But my first opponent of the day here is rocking a pretty cool team of Tapu Lele and Koko, so we both have those 2. Arcanine, Gastrodon, Gigalith, and Kartana. So we do have 3 of the same Pokemon in the 2 Tapus and the Ultra Beast in Kartana. Rain's going to be a little bit hard to bring here, obviously, because there is that Gastrodon and there is that Gigalith, so I'm probably not going to bring Golduck. Maybe I'll bring Pelipper still, though. As always, leading is probably the most important thing. And I'm going to go with, let's see. I like Tapu Lele a lot. I think I'm going to go Lele Metagross. Yeah, I like that. I definitely need Kartana in the back for the Gastrodon, which my opponent's probably going to want to bring. And I'll actually still bring Pelipper for the Tailwind option. So we're going to get into this first game. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Also, as I mentioned, since I am finally back home for winter break, please let me know what kind of content you would like to see on this channel. I'm obviously going to try to do Road to Ranked on a daily basis, but I do want to push out a team analysis for this team and for the Torkoal team, as well as any new teams I use on Road to Ranked, and maybe we'll construct as well. So yeah, definitely let me know individual Pokemon analyses, obviously, as well, but anything beyond that would I'd love any recommendations. So we actually see the Koko Gastrodon lead from my opponent, and I think this is really good for me for 2 reasons. One, I get the Psychic Terrain up, and Psychic Terrain's a big deal because it significantly reduces Koko's damage output. And 2, there's a Gastrodon out here, which I wasn't expecting to see as a lead. I basically get a opportunity to just Zen Headbutt that slot for free. I could also go for the Shattered Psyche. So the question is, do I want a Shattered Psyche Gastrodon and Zen Headbutt Koko, or do I want to do it the other way around? It's likely that Gastrodon switches out here. So, you know, I could really see something like Kartana coming into that slot. So I think I'm actually going to go for the Shattered Psyche onto Gastrodon here, and the Zen Headbutt onto Koko. And the other question I have is whether Koko here is Focus Sash or not. Because, you know, that's an item that we do see on top of Koko occasionally. I run Life Orb on mine personally. But Koko's actually switching out here into Kartana, so I miscalled where the Koko was going to switch into. And Gastrodon does go for Protect, so yeah, I really should have done things the other way around, but I thought that he was going to switch Gastrodon out. Especially because Gastrodon doesn't do too much offensively right now, which is why I thought Kartana was coming into that slot. So if I switched it around here, things would be really good. I'm still relatively content with my position. I mean, he's going to take some damage from the Shattered Psyche, although that not mattering as much because I do waste Lele's potential to basically get a nuke. Could have went for the substitute there with Lele too. Maybe that would have been the better play. But it gets some damage off. Let's see how much this Zen Headbutt can do against the... As Kartana avoids it. Yep, seems pretty fitting. That's basically been my experience playing with this team, missing attacks here and there with Metagross, but you know, you do have to deal with those risks. I'm gonna Zen Headbutt Gastrodon here for sure. The question is, so Kartana getting Beast Boosts is really bad. He might predict me to protect Lele though, and just attack Metagross. I'm definitely Zen Headbutting the Gastrodon slot. That might switch out into, I think Coco might come in into that slot. I'm gonna switch out into my own Kartana here and go for a Zen Headbutt onto Gastrodon. That miss is really unfortunate though. I mean, it doesn't do an absurd amount of damage, but any damage is good against Kartana, especially because it's often Focus Sash. So I'll bring in my Kartana. No, he doesn't switch out, he just Leaf Blades. That's perfect. Excellent. So hopefully I don't miss this Zen Headbutt here. Okay, I hit that on Gastrodon, that's a knockout. Although, maybe I didn't actually want to knock that out because by bringing in my Kartana, it basically pressures the Gastrodon more, but hey, I take that turn any day. And the Leaf Blade option there is interesting as well, so going for Leaf Blade instead of Smart Strike, obviously Smart Strike is super effective, whereas Leaf Blade isn't, but perhaps, that might actually still just knock me out outright, I'm not sure about that. But I do go up 4-3, however, Kartana plus Tapu Koko is a pretty deadly combination for my opponent, so I'm still a little bit concerned right now. Electric Terrain is going to go up. I think I'm going to switch my Kartana back out into my Lele here. Yeah, I really wish I hit that Zen Headbutt earlier, because then his Kartana would be in KO range from like a Sacred Sword. But I'm going to switch back out into Lele to get the Psychic Terrain up, and I'm going to go for a Zen Headbutt once again onto Koko. And if Koko's not Sash, that's just going to be a one-hit knockout. So let's see if I can get it off. I really wish I switched up the Shattered Psyche Zen Headbutt turn 1 though. I was just so sure that Kartana was going to go in from that Gastrodon slot. Because, like, from my opponent's perspective, you probably want to conserve Gastrodon, especially if the Pelipper is in the back. As Kartana switches out, okay, that's good. That indicates to me that he's probably banded, and it's actually my opponent's Tapu Lele coming in. Okay. I don't mind that too much. As Kartana is going to switch out. So that's actually really good for me because my Kartana basically checks the Lele, unless the Lele is Scarfed. And he just goes for a Discharge, so he's going to damage his own Lele, potentially paralyze it as well. And that Koko is Life Orb, so hopefully I don't miss the Zen Headbutt. Nice. So that's really good as well. And that's another knockout for me. So really, really good first couple of turns, despite me not being able to knock out the Kartana and missing the Zen Headbutt. But Kartana's going to come back in right now. So my opponent's team is pretty hyper offensive as well, which is interesting to see. So I really think that Kartana is banded. Let's see. I think I'm actually just going to go for the Psychic here onto Kartana and the Zen Headbutt onto Lele. Yeah. So I don't know what Kartana's going to lock himself into. Maybe Smart Strike, but if that's the case, then my Kartana can just come in. And I still think it's Choice Banded, because otherwise you probably wouldn't want to switch out Kartana in the position that it's in. And with the Choice Band, that would make sense why he went for Leaf Blade instead of Smart Strike. But I do have the Sash Pelipper in the back as well, and that's important because that means I could Tailwind in the late game. Zen Headbutt might actually be able to just knock out Lele given its range. Of course, I am Choice Banded and Psychic Terrain's up, but he actually goes for the Sacred Sword. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to knock me out, actually. So I just get a free Psychic off against the Kartana. And that almost knocks it out, jeez. He is going to go for the Psychic here. He is going to target down the Lele slot, so not doubling up. Actually picks up the knockout there. Wow, impressive damage output. So hopefully I don't miss the Zen Headbutt. That's what I've been saying the last couple of turns. I do manage to connect, though. Let's see if this knocks it out. It's around 60%. Ooh, it survives with what literally looks like 1 or 2 HP. But that's okay. How do I play this 100% safe? Because of right now, I'm still relying on Zen Headbutt hitting, which is meh. But I can just bring in my Kartana. He can Sacred Sword, though. So maybe I actually want to... Yeah, actually, I'm going to bring in Pelipper. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Oh, I guess he could have Dazzling Gleam. Which would actually be really bad. The reason why I didn't want to bring Kartana in is because I'm not max speed. Although I don't know if Banned Sacred Sword knocks me out. So here... Actually, no, Dazzling Gleam wouldn't knock out Metagross, yeah. So I just Tailwind here. And Zen Headbutt into Kartana because I know that can't protect. So yeah, he has to double onto Pelipper because I have the Sash. If I get Tailwind up, then my Kartana and my Pelipper just outspeed, and he doesn't have any way to basically stall that out. So I'm in a pretty good position right now, I think. Could have doubled up on Kartana. Yep, he does just go for another Sacred Sword. And it's going to target Metagross. It is going to get the Beast Boost, but that's fine. I know I'm safe here because I do have the Focus Sash on Pelipper. And that's exactly what I was playing for. So he's probably going to Psychic. Yep, into the Pelipper slot. That will probably bring me down to my Focus Sash. As it does. Getting a critical hit there along the way, but Tailwind is going to go up here. And yeah, so I think if my opponent wanted to, like, he probably didn't anticipate the Sash on Pelipper. Like, he could have doubled up on Pelipper, and if I missed Zen Headbutt, that also could have been pretty bad. So I think I maybe should have just doubled up on Kartana earlier when I went for the Psychic. Although I was expecting to get knocked out there with Lele, but now I can just safely go for a Scald onto Tapu Lele and go for a Sacred Sword onto my opponent's Kartana. And I'm a Salt Vest Kartana, which is why you see I don't run Protect on this one. Salt Vest Kartana was something I kind of threw in the last second. I actually got the idea from Ben Kuriaku, who beat me on stream round 1 over in London. And it's just something that basically allows you to get 2 attacks off, and that's important because I do have a Focus Sash on Pelipper, so obviously I can't have that on Kartana. And that's the item that most players like to use on Kartana, so I wanted to use it. I wanted to survive for at least, you can, get 2 attacks off, and so Assault Vest seemed like a pretty good option. The team was pretty offensive as is, and Kartana just puts on a lot of pressure, especially against those pesky Gastrodons, which players obviously love to bring against rain teams. So I think I've pinned my opponent in at this point. I don't think there's any priority my opponent can even have. And yep, we're not going to see any Protects come out here, so Sacred Sword will come out. That will pick up the knockout onto my opponent's Kartana. So Kartana mirrors here, but yep, being able to get that knockout in. And Scald here should finish the job up against Lele, as Pelipper will get the Scald off. Of course, outspeeding Tapu Lele under Tailwind, and we'll pick up the knockout. So, we managed to win this game, but I could have played, I don't know, the first turn prediction went poorly on my end, because I basically flipped it up, and I could have gone for a substitute as well. Just wasn't anticipating Coco switching out, but yeah, we take those. I'm pretty content with that overall, and it's always scary relying on a 90% accurate move, but there is no more viable option, and that's just kind of one of the issues with this team. I don't know, like it's Pelipper, Metagross is one of the few Pokemon that has inaccurate moves, but obviously, yeah, it's a very, very key component to the team, so you kind of, excuse me, you kind of want to use it when you can afford a miss or two, and in that game, we did miss the Kartana, but that still was okay, and yeah, some of the benefits were that I was able to just knock out or do so much damage to the opposing Kartana, but our second opponent of the day, Emilio's, also got the Lele and Coco combination, and Kartana, so once again, 3 of the same 6 Pokemon, but a supporting cast of Raichu, Ninetales, and Incineroar. So I didn't make a very optimal Kartana spread. As a result, mine's actually not max speed, which is very concerning given that my opponent has Kartana and the Ninetales on the opposing side. My opponent's team is also very, very fast, which is another scary part. So I am not really looking forward to this matchup very much. It's a little bit scary because I can't just safely go with Rain. If there wasn't a Ninetales, I definitely would just probably lead Rain immediately. But because there's a Ninetales, gotta think twice about that. As a result, I think I'm actually going to go with tricky. I like Metagross as a lead because Earthquake pressures everything. Same with Meteor Mash, but Incineroar is the main threat here to Metagross. So, like, Pelipper would be good to protect it. Let's see. Yeah, the Raichu Coco combination also just doesn't look very fun right now. Could go Lele, actually. That would counter my opponent going with the Coco Raichu combination. I think I'm going to still go with Pelipper. And I feel like, Kartana would be okay, but it still takes a ton of damage. Maybe I actually want Tapu Koko here. As weird as this seems, yeah, I'm going with Tapu Koko. I don't know if that's necessarily the right call, though. The reason why I'm going with Tapu Koko is because I know I can outspeed Kartana and Ninetales outside of a Tailwind, whereas my Kartana is probably going to be slower because, like I said, I'm not max speed. Although, fun fact, I'm also not max speed with my Tapu Koko. I'm modest instead of timid, and the only time where that really becomes an issue is if you're going against opposing Tapu Kokos, which I am, so that could be a problem. But let's see, I'm going to go with Metagross and Lele right now. And it's going to be Raichu and Kartana. Okay. Not a fun lead matchup here. Given these two, I feel like there's got to be a Ninetales in the back. He knows he can't fake out here. He might just double up into Metagross, which would be very bad. I could make a really risky play here and just go for an Earthquake and a Shattered Psyche. Because Protect is so obvious from Lele, so if they do double up onto Kartana, or onto Metagross, I could Shatter Psyche and knock out Kartana. Unless it's Satched, which is possible. I don't think I have any great switch-ins either here, though, because you can just Electric type, and if you have Night Slash, double up onto Metagross. Otherwise, you could Smart Strike. But then I would get the switch-in into Pelipper. Actually, or into Koko. Ooh, Kartana protects, actually. Does Raichu protect? Nope, it just goes for a Thunderbolt. I wonder how much this Shattered Psyche is going to do. So, this could work out more in my favor, if anything, because Shattered Psyche will still do a decent chunk to Kartana. If he's not a Solvested, it could actually still bring him down to like 50%. And then Earthquake could potentially knock out Raichu, but I don't know where the Focus Sash is. And that's actually one of the most important things when you're playing with this team. You really want to figure out which one of your opponent's Pokemon is Focus Sash, because that means you can't just nuke it instantly for one of those really strong offensive attacks. Yeah, that literally still does 50%, which is incredible. And Metagross will get this Earthquake off. So I'm going to do around 50% of damage to myself with Lele, but that's okay. I'd rather have that. Or more than 50%. But Raichu doesn't have a Focus Sash, which is good. I'm going to guess Kartana has a Sash because it took 50% from that Shattered Psyche, so I don't think he has the Assault Vest. Or it obviously can't have Assault Vest, sorry, because it went for the Protect. That was just some noob commentary right there. But Koko comes in, okay. That's okay with me. You know that Metagross has Earthquake right now. Oh, I mean, it's also just in KO range from a Thunderbolt. And that's bad. Like, right now, my opponent can just attack Lele and attack Metagross and get a double knockout. And that's not great. I think my goal should be to set up Tailwind here. So, I'm going to bring in Koko. I'm running out of time here, which sucks. I want to bring in Koko. And I'll Psychic so I get the free switch into Pelipper, I suppose. I don't think I played that well. We'll see. Because Koko's going to take a ton of damage here still from Thunderbolt. It might even be 50%. Depending on its item. Yeah, that's not good. Is that Life Orb? Oh, he crits me. Does he double? Okay, he does double up into that slot. That was actually kind of what I was hoping for, because that's why I attacked with Lele instead of protecting, in case he doubled up into that slot. I don't know if Psychic will knock this Kartana out without the Psychic terrain, but that would be really good if I could pick up this knockout. Please? Nice. Okay. I don't know what the last one is going to be, and if it's Gigalith, like, I need to bring in Metagross right now. I feel like it's got to be Gigalith. Like, that's the counter to Rain. So let's see if it is. Oh, sorry, not Gigalith, Ninetales. But, I mean, that's fine. Is it fine? Well, I can Bullet Punch now. No, I should have brought it in. I was remembering the last team with Gigalith. Can you just Thunderbolt Metagross again and Blizzard? Should have brought in Pelipper. I don't know why I remembered Gigalith on the team. Because, yeah, if I just bring in Pelipper, then I win the Weather War. Okay, but only one of these two Pokemon can have a Sash. And he's not Life Orb, so... Bullet Punch. Maybe Sub? See, if I switch in, I'm going to take damage. Oh, no, I shouldn't have. I don't know how I feel about that play. He doesn't protect with either. Okay. Does Ninetales have a Sash then? Oh, it does. Yeah. It's just going to Thunderbolt. What item does Koko have then? I should have switched into Pelipper to reduce the chances of Blizzard hitting. Yeah, so I messed this one up because I forgot it was Ninetales and I thought it was Gigalith. That was just me not remembering teams correctly. Yeah, because if I bring in Pelipper there, then I instantly win the Weather War and I can at least threaten Tailwind. I think my opponent probably has to go for the Blind Blizzard and hope that both hits, because if either one misses, then I win the game. So, yeah, that's why you want to write your opponent's team down, even though the game does allow you to check. I kind of messed that one up. I also could have played that last turn better. I was hoping that maybe Ninetales would protect, which is why I went for the substitute, but if it has Focus Sash, there's no reason to protect, so switching into Pelipper was probably the better call, just so that there was the chance he could miss, and he actually... Yeah, I mean, but that was my, what I really should have done was just bring in Pelipper instantly against the Ninetales, because that just negates the weather. That doesn't mean I necessarily win, but the odds are more in my favor than bringing in Metagross. Yeah, so yeah, there's obviously not much I can do here, unless he no, yeah. Coco just goes for a T-Bolt. Yep, brings me down to my Sash. And Freeze Rise is going to come out and pick up the knockout. Well played by my opponent there. Even if I did bring in Pelipper, it wasn't necessarily a guaranteed victory. The idea is if I set up Tailwind, then I can just Earthquake, and since Coco didn't have the Sash, then I just outspeed it. But that Coco might have been Choice Scarfed as well, actually, come to think about it. That would make sense. I mean, it only revealed Thunderbolt, but if it was Scarfed, then even with Tailwind, I might not have been able to outspeed him. So that could have been problematic. Although I suppose Thunderbolt wouldn't knock me out, but then Blizzard would. And I'd be forced to Earthquake myself. So I'm not sure if I could have still won that game. It was just a pretty tough matchup because my opponent's team was really speedy as well. So I think I should have just had a better game plan overall. And it was really well executed by my opponent. But I had a really bad blunder there. I just remember Gigalith from the last game instead of Ninetales this one. So I normally don't take notes when I play Road to Rank, but that's why notes are important, because it allows you to consider what your opponent has in the back. And sometimes that's really important when you consider your late game and whatnot. So fun episode for you guys, kind of showcasing both some strengths and weaknesses of the team. Ninetales definitely gives me some trouble, and especially with Focus Sash. I mean, it almost always has Focus Sash there. So in the end, I was hoping, if it doesn't have Sash, then I probably just win the game with Metagross and Sash Pelipper in the back, but it did end up having it, and a little bit unfortunate, but I also just had a total brain fart there and brought in Pelipper at the wrong time and brought in Metagross instead. So yeah, that was my fault. We'll do better in the future, but it's been a long week, especially a lot of traveling over the last weekend, but I will try to play better in the next one. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace.